Chaos erupted at Monaco as several cars became involved in a major pileup, forcing race control to deploy the safety car immediately. Max Chilton was caught in the incident, while Pastor Maldonado crashed heavily into the barriers and collected another car in the process. Moments later, Jules Bianchi also slammed into the damaged barrier, leading officials to bring out the red flag so repairs could be carried out. The replay showed that one driver appeared unaware of a rival alongside him, and on Monaco's narrow streets, even the smallest mistake can trigger a huge accident. Further around the circuit, another multi-car crash blocked the track completely. Michael Schumacher, Juan Pablo Montoya, and several others became trapped in a traffic jam of damaged cars, leaving officials considering another race stoppage. While many drivers lost valuable time, the race leader escaped the drama and continued without any major delay. Looking back at the footage, a spinning Minardi forced David Coulthard to slow suddenly, and Schumacher damaged his front wing after making contact, creating a chain reaction that collected multiple cars. Monaco continued to deliver drama during qualifying when Sergio Perez lost control exiting Portier and crashed heavily into the barriers. Carlos Sainz arrived seconds later and was unable to avoid the wreckage, ending his session as well. It was a classic Monaco mistake, with the car snapping sideways before smashing into the wall. In another dramatic moment, Ferrari suffered a disaster when Eddie Irvine spun and collided with his teammate, eliminating both cars from the race. As the action continued, Oscar Piastri piled pressure on the Ferrari ahead while a huge crash further back forced officials to stop the race with a red flag on the opening lap. One of the most dramatic incidents involved Sergio Perez and Kevin Magnussen, who attempted an aggressive move in a space that was rapidly disappearing. Contact sent Perez crashing heavily into the barriers, scattering debris across the track. Thankfully, he was able to climb out of the car unharmed. Monaco has produced countless moments like these over the years. In one memorable race, Gerhard Berger ran into the back of Alain Prost, triggering a chain reaction that blocked the circuit and forced officials to stop the race. Another year saw Jenson Button and Pedro de la Rosa collide at the station hairpin, creating a blockage that required a restart. More chaos unfolded at Rascasse when several drivers became tangled together, leaving cars stranded across the track until quick reactions prevented an even larger accident. The replay showed George Russell being spun around after an ambitious move, with Sergio Perez also caught up in the confusion. Even practice sessions at Monaco have generated controversy, including an incident involving David Coulthard, Juan Pablo Montoya, Ralf Schumacher, and Jacques Villeneuve, where unexpected slowing on the climb up the hill created a chain reaction of contact and sparked heated arguments between the drivers. Back in race conditions, Adrian Sutil brushed the barriers, forcing Lewis Hamilton to brake suddenly. Jamie Alguersuari then crashed into the back of Hamilton, sending more cars into the wall and scattering debris across the circuit. With damaged cars stranded, barriers requiring repairs, and incidents happening almost everywhere, race control once again had no choice but to deploy the safety car as Monaco delivered another unforgettable display of high-speed drama and chaos. As the safety car led the field around the circuit, marshals worked quickly to clear the wreckage and repair the damaged barriers. Teams immediately began calculating their options, knowing that a safety car period at Monaco can completely change the outcome of a race. Some drivers used the opportunity to make pit stops, while others stayed out hoping to gain track position. With overtaking so difficult around the narrow streets, every strategic decision suddenly became even more important. Drivers who had avoided the accidents now found themselves in a stronger position, while those caught in traffic or forced into the pits faced an uphill battle to recover. When the race finally resumed, the intensity increased once again. The tightly packed field created constant pressure, with drivers searching for any possible advantage while trying to avoid another costly mistake. Several competitors brushed the barriers as they pushed harder and harder, demonstrating just how little room for error exists at Monaco. Every lap required complete concentration, and even the slightest lapse could end a driver's race instantly. The leaders carefully managed their pace, aware that one lockup or missed apex could undo hours of hard work. Further back, battles continued throughout the field as drivers fought for valuable championship points. Some attempted ambitious overtaking moves into the few available braking zones, while others focused on maintaining position and avoiding trouble. Traffic became a major factor as back markers and front runners mixed together on the narrow circuit. A single delayed overtake could cost several seconds, allowing rivals to close the gap and apply additional pressure. Teams constantly communicated with their drivers, providing updates on gaps, tire conditions, and potential strategic opportunities. As the laps counted down, the tension around the circuit continued to build. The barriers seemed to close in with every passing lap, and the challenge of navigating Monaco remained as demanding as ever. Despite the numerous accidents, safety cars, and red flags that had interrupted the event, the remaining drivers pushed forward knowing that a strong result at Monaco carries special significance. Victory on these famous streets is considered one of the greatest achievements in motorsport, and every driver still running knew they were only a few laps away from either glory or heartbreak. In the final stages, fatigue began to play a role. Drivers had spent hours wrestling their cars through Monaco's tight corners, constantly balancing aggression with caution. The smallest mistake could still prove disastrous. Some drivers focused on defending their positions, placing their cars perfectly through every corner, while others searched desperately for a final opportunity to move forward. The pressure was relentless, and the atmosphere around the circuit reflected the importance of the moment. When the checkered flag finally appeared, it marked the end of another unforgettable chapter in Monaco Grand Prix history. The race had featured dramatic crashes, controversial incidents, safety cars, red flags, strategic gambles, and incredible displays of driving skill. Some drivers left celebrating career-defining performances, while others were left wondering what might have been. As always, Monaco had delivered a spectacular mix of drama and excitement, proving once again why it remains one of the most iconic and unpredictable races in Formula One. Yet even after the checkered flag had fallen, the discussions were far from over. Fans, teams, and drivers immediately began analyzing the incidents that had shaped the race. Some argued that a few of the collisions were simply racing incidents caused by Monaco's extremely narrow layout, while others believed certain drivers had taken unnecessary risks. Stewards reviewed multiple accidents throughout the event, examining onboard footage and radio messages to determine whether penalties were necessary. The debates quickly spread across the paddock as everyone offered their own interpretation of the race's most controversial moments. Attention soon turned to the drivers who had managed to survive the chaos. In a race where so many competitors crashed, spun, or suffered damage, simply reaching the finish line was an achievement in itself. Those who kept their cars out of the barriers demonstrated not only speed but also patience, discipline, and exceptional concentration. Monaco rewards precision more than almost any other circuit on the calendar, and the drivers standing at the front had mastered that challenge when it mattered most. For the teams, the race provided valuable lessons. Engineers studied tire performance, pit stop timing, and strategic decisions made during the various safety car and red flag periods. Some teams celebrated bold calls that gained positions, while others regretted missed opportunities that could have changed their entire weekend. Monaco often rewards perfect execution, and even the smallest strategic mistake can have enormous consequences. Meanwhile, many drivers were left frustrated by what could have been. Several had shown impressive pace throughout practice and qualifying only to see their races end in accidents beyond their control. Others spent much of the afternoon trapped behind slower cars, unable to take advantage of their speed due to Monaco's limited overtaking opportunities. It was another reminder that success at Monaco requires not only talent and preparation but also a significant amount of luck. As the teams packed up and prepared for the next round of the championship, the memories of the race remained fresh. Spectacular crashes, daring overtakes, controversial moments, and dramatic recoveries had combined to create another unforgettable Monaco Grand Prix. The event once again showcased why the circuit remains one of the most challenging venues in motorsport. Every corner punished mistakes, every strategy decision carried extra importance, and every lap demanded complete commitment from the drivers. Long after the race ended, highlights of the biggest incidents continued to be replayed around the world. The massive pileups, the red flags, the narrow escapes, and the remarkable recoveries became part of Monaco folklore. For some drivers, it was a weekend they would prefer to forget. For others, it was a performance that enhanced their reputation on one of Formula One's biggest stages. Regardless of the outcome, Monaco had once again delivered everything that makes the sport so compelling: speed, danger, unpredictability,